James Mennie joins us on the line. Hello, James.
Hey, Sue, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Are we talking about anything? I think your entire column is redacted today.
No, I sent it off to you at the usual time, and
okay.
Alice seems to have had her copy. But listen, I'm coming in with some breaking news.
Oh, yeah, tell me.
And Michel Savard, the former Quebec Liberal candidate in the riding of Gwen. When I say former, I mean up until maybe a couple of hours ago, he was still in the running. This is a guy who already had to publicly apologize for having posted on social media describing the Parti Québécois as an extreme right aberration under the leadership of Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon, and describing two supporters that he was addressing this message to, and they were also PQ candidates, as being little Nazis for having followed this hateful and megalomaniac individual. And so, of course, the usual, yes, I'm sorry if I heard, this is a while ago, and I was very confrontational on social media. Well, that was fine. And the Liberals said, in the morning, okay, people make mistakes. Now, TVA is reporting the guy is out, and if the Liberals are saying he's out because they have been made aware of other, more very questionable social media posts that this guy has made, and no, he's not going to be carrying our colors in the riding of Gwen. And I got to tell you, Sue, as you know, and many of our listeners know, the world is full of people who say absolutely outrageous, ridiculous, hurtful, and scary things on social media.
Yep. Which
is one of the reasons why, if you're serious about winning an election, you crawl up every candidate's social media history with a miner's light on your forehead and a pick and shovel, and you check every single thing that person has done. It's not a joke. And my question right now is there some competition going on within the Quebec Liberal organization to see how many points, unearned points, they can throw the Parti Québécois with rubbish like this? This is an absolutely foreseeable mistake. Shouldn't have happened. And I've said it before. I'll say it again. I got a really bad feeling about the Liberal campaign. I got a really bad feeling about their attitude. I think they figure, well, just cash out. Just say, you want to vote for separatists? Well, we'll see. I got news for you guys. The past 50 years, you've been trading power with the separatists here in Quebec. And this looks like it might not be another exception to that. It is so frustrating to realize that these things are happening. Last week, we were talking about a Liberal candidate who was a supporter of the PQ, which, you know what, it's fine. This is a democracy. People change their minds. But the fact that they weren't ahead on the story makes it look like they don't really know who they have running for them. So here's another rake stepped on by the campaign of Charles Milliard. Yeah. Will there be more? I don't know. The week is young. Hey. And no, seriously, I mean, this stuff is almost on a semi-daily basis.
Hey,
and if we're talking about the Quebec Liberals for the mistakes that they've made, Sue, we're all in a very, very bad place.
Well, I mean, I think it speaks to the inexperience of Charles Milliard, but also makes me worried about the team that's around him. And there is that argument about, look, we want to really, there's the guy who's on social media all the time. He's also said some egregious things, but he's like an influencer or something. We want a wide, diverse tent. And I get that argument, but you have to have a few standards.
Well, calling people Nazis, I don't care who it is. I don't know who's doing the Nazi calling. I don't know who the target is. You're in a class by yourself, as far as I'm concerned. And I think as far as a lot of people in Quebec are concerned. And for this to have been able to turn from an embarrassment into, let's face it, a not so minor disaster, because here we are. We're supposed to be in the middle of a quiet period in the Daltons. We're anything but. People are going to pay attention to this. This is something else people will be talking about when it comes to the Quebec Liberal Party, and it won't be about platforms. It won't be about policy. It'll be, oh, look, here's another goofy mistake they made. Mm-hmm. Not a good place to be in, especially when, and maybe the Liberals are no more confident than any other party. The problem is, how come their mistakes keep surfacing? That's what I can't figure out.
Yeah. 100%. And again, you wonder about the Charles Milliard himself, but also about the team around him.
I have such a bad feeling.
Yeah. They're not managing him well.
No. And I'm getting kind of a flashback to 2018 when once again the disastrous campaign that saw the CAQ win their first term. And here was a Liberal Party that figured it really didn't even have to campaign. It was really, and in the end, it turned out they weren't talking to the people on the ground. They weren't talking to the people, the volunteers, the boots on the ground, the people who actually win elections for them. And I have a really bad feeling the same thing is happening here. And the Quebec Liberals and their supporters are going to pay that price come October.
All right, let's look at this potential for a hydro deal with Newfoundland before the Quebec election.
This is the kind of story you chuckle over, because this is this deal that Quebec struck with Newfoundland. My God, I think it was like how many decades ago. And not to put too fine a point on it, Newfoundland got screwed. Quebec was buying the energy for dirt cheap from Newfoundland. They were selling it for a whole bunch more, making all kinds of money. So then I guess Legault and the premier of Newfoundland at the time come to a deal. We'll give you a little more. We're gonna, because we know it's ridiculous, it's not fair. However, we have a new premier, not only in Quebec but in Newfoundland, and the premier in Newfoundland say, no, we can do better than this. We can do better than this deal. And Christine Trachette is saying, we're both working very, very hard, and we're going to be able to have a deal, I'm sure, before the election, which of course is not going to happen, because if anything. Newfoundland, all they have to do is wait. Because if they turn around, first of all, they say, well, be careful, because the PQ doesn't like that deal. They may kill the deal altogether. I'm not entirely sure about that, because I think one thing the nation aspiring PQ wants to have is a source of revenue. And believe me, Newfoundland would be a great source of revenue, despite all this performative political rubbish about how Labrador is actually part of Quebec, and it's an injustice, and they want that territory back. I think perhaps cooler heads, more realistic and pragmatic heads within the PQ, if they get elected, will turn around and say, no, I think il y a des moyens de moyenner, and we'll get this deal done. But honestly, the idea that Christine Trachette will be able to present this deal as a kind of gorgeous trophy that should sweep her and the CAQ back into office, I don't see it happening.
All right, well, watch this space. And are we in the summer doldrums, James?
Absolutely not. But you know what? It's I think this is a mythology that we've created. I, for one, have been arguing against this whole idea for years now, because as we just got through telling folks, there's something called social media. That never sleeps. It's on there 24/7. Yeah. This idea that somehow all of Quebec sort of waddles off in the middle of summer and all it does is barbecue and not pay attention to anything whatsoever is absolute rubbish. And I think we're seeing that now. I think to a certain extent, if we're not getting polls, if we're not getting pulse takings of the public over this particular part of the campaign, the pre-campaign, if you will, is simply because money's tight in newsrooms, polls cost money, so you may as well have put that money out when you're closer to the election, when you've got more of an audience who's going to pick up on it. Yeah. But in the meantime, to suggest that nothing's going on because it's summer, La Presse, God love them, actually did an examination of the activities of cabinet ministers, and they're making more campaign stops now. They are 4 times more present at this time of year than they were last year. So you know what? They understand what's at stake. They understand how hard they have to work. Yeah. And we'll see if that pays off in the end. But folks, please.
Oh, is he gone?
I'll be very quiet. No. Oh. Those days are gone.
Oh, you got cut off there. Sorry. Can you say your last? But folks, please.
Well, but folks, the people who say that it's summer and nothing's going on, those days are gone forever. Yeah. They changed with the advent of social media, and you ignore that reality at your peril if you're a politician.
Okay. We'll leave it there. Thank you, James.
Matt.
The newest tracks. Let's go. New music. And the next big thing.
Always on the new music first.
Your first place to hear it all.
'Cause you gon' like it, love it, wanna play it twice. Playing now.
iHeart New Music. Your digital station for brand new drops, fresh finds, and tomorrow's bangers.
I think we need something new.
Discover iHeart New Music. Always fresh, always first. Stream now on the free iHeartRadio app.